Quest is a day where I can see, what other students, my peers are looking at, what they're talking about, the types of research that they're doing in all different fields. It's like an interdisciplinary day for me. Normally I'm in history classes, women's studies classes, African American studies classes. So it's just a way for me to kind of mingle with my peers and see other things outside of my discipline, which I think is important, and it brings about different ideas about how I look at my research topic and how I look at things in the world. So I think that Quest is really, really important to have. My first project, I'm looking at women slave traders in West Africa from the 18th century to the early 19th century. And part of the reason why I decided to look at women is because I'm mixed race, and essentially these women were mixed race. They were Portuguese and African. They have Portuguese and African descendants. So that's why I decided to look at that, and also as a part of my McNair project. And as a McNair scholar, you're required to have a research component or some form of interest. And as a history major and a women's studies minor and African American studies minor, I really took to these women, and I'm going to try to do my best to do them some justice by including them in the history that we normally get of maybe European Anglo-Saxon men. And I'm kind of bringing in the West African component as well as these mixed race women, which I think is very important to our history as far as the transatlantic slave trade is concerned. So I've done a couple of presentations. I hope to gain some new questions that will kind of lead me in different directions as far as these women are concerned. After I kind of finish up with my McNair project, this is the last time I'll be looking at these women. Moving forward to grad school, I'll be doing something totally different, looking more at the history of education. So I just hope to inform people that West African and women were agents of the transatlantic slave trade, and their mixed race daughters essentially played a large part in the facilitation of the trade, and that is very important, and it's a piece that we don't get often. So I think that it was really interesting for me, and I hope that it's really interesting for everybody else, and we all can learn something from it. And I love questions, so questioning should be fun, seeing as I've been dealing with this for about a year. So my other project is actually my history capstone. I'm looking at women in Lesotho. These particular women, again with women, these particular women make up the larger majority of the population in Lesotho, and part of the reason for that is that men mined and kind of migrated to other areas of the country and or South Africa. So I'm looking at these women as agents also of change within the country of Lesotho. So still, again, African studies, really pushing, women's agency and looking at how they change their surroundings and maybe the negative and positive effects of their change and what they kind of intended to do for their country.